We're officially 100 days from the NFL kicking off the 2025 season. Why not get a little bit bold? 5 Cardinals bold predictions by me, my co-host, Johnny Venerable.
Let's do it. We're going Big 5. Plus, why Kyler Murray's fantasy football schedule means big yardage, big points, and big dubs in 2025. PHNX Cardinals starts now. Hey, welcome in. Live Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. Wake up, PHNX Cardinals podcast is back. We are back. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. This is your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. I'm Johnny Venerable. He's the returning Bull Brock. Damon Dog behind the mic. Hope everybody had a wonderful, happy, and healthy Memorial Day weekend. Big thank you to everybody who sacrificed in previous years over the weekend. We give thanks to you as we can be here on this Football Tuesday, Bo Brock.
No doubt about it. Absolutely honoring those who made the ultimate sacrifice. And of course, I'm thankful for those who stepped in, pinch hit on Friday. For me, Damon Dog, Noah, you guys held it down great. Appreciate the chat. Everybody out there having a good time, ready to talk some ball. 100 days out from Thursday night football in the NFL season, kicking off with a bit of a fraudulent game. Sure, I get it. Philly, Dallas Cowboys. We really have to be subjected to the NFC East propaganda like this early in the season. Like we have to get a primetime game right off the jump with the Cowboys. That's fine. But I would do some pretty obscene things just to get some football in my life right now. But to think that it's only 100 short days away, less than we get out of the triple digits tomorrow, I'm here for that.
That first preseason is gonna slap. We're gonna be absolutely ready for it. Inject it into our veins. Give me Jacoby Brissett for 4 quarters, throwing a little Clayton Tune. Give me some gross outcomes, some practice squad guys. I've never needed anything more. Now, you're going to be out at the facility later this week. We're going to have on-field activities continuing throughout the Cardinals offseason, but no real football for 100 days. And we thought perfect time to take a quick reset here in late May and talk about where we feel like this team is, and dare I say, get bold as we put in the show title. So you're going to hear a lot of predictions come over the course of the summer, and maybe we'll revise ours depending on how things are looking. But Bo and I wanted to put together a list of 5 things, and I have not seen his list, by the way. 5 bold predictions for our Arizona Cardinals that will take place per us during the 2025 NFL season. So, my friend, because you were absent on Friday, I am going to defer to you. Kick us off here on a Football Tuesday.
Wow. Such a gracious host, such a gracious and humble host. Probably the most humble host in the entire market, maybe entire podcast community, Johnny Venerable. It's fantastic. Yes. You and your Brandon Bills hat that you got on there. Yeah, let's get into it. I mean, I hope these come off as bold. I did try to
oh no, that's not a good start.
No, this isn't. You're not gonna. I don't think Damon's seen them. I don't think they're gonna come off as soft or chalky or anything like that. But there are like a lot of signs trending towards and pointing towards mine happening. I didn't make a record prediction. I think our record predictions are pretty bold already. Like you and I are already firmly in the camp that they're going to be double-digit win team and make the playoffs. So I didn't want to go there. But let's get into it, Damon. If we would, our top 5. We don't have. We'll just. I'll just read them off here. I thought we were gonna have a big unveiling, but look, they're big enough already. Let's start with my number 5 here. Trey McBride leads the Arizona Cardinals with touchdown receptions, Johnny.
Okay.
I think Trey McBride, who had 2 touchdown receptions last season, 4 total touchdowns. He fell on a ball in the end zone. He had a rushing touchdown. He pretty much scored every way you could outside of passing it. I think he becomes their number 1 red zone target. He scored in their final 2 games of the season last year. And Trey McBride, as crazy as it is, 1,100 yards, 111 receptions, bonkers numbers, faced the toughest schedule a tight end can face last season in fantasy football. I think he becomes just an absolute touchdown machine in 2025.
I like that. I want to go back and forth. I actually think no graphic right now helps us to build suspense. I think I was talking to somebody earlier today. I mean, everything had to go wrong for him to have 2 touchdowns last year. I think I remember like multiple instances, Bo, where he was tackled at the 1-yard line. I mean, he had over 100 catches last year, 1,100 yards, 3 total touchdowns, 2 receiving. They came in the last 2 games. Somebody tell me who in the AFC and the NFC South is going to stop Trey McBride. I'm going to start with nobody. Nobody, never, ever. Defenders from the Colts and the Jags are going to slow down Trey McBride, and the Saints and the Panthers. I think that's a bullish take that I don't agree with, because it confers with one of my predictions, but I like it. And I will go on the record. I think Trey McBride has less yardage this year because there's going to be more, hopefully, opportunities for Michael and Marvin. But I think unequivocally, I think we'd all be disappointed if he was not hovering in 8 to 10 receiving touchdowns this year. I think based on how the Cardinals schedule goes early in the year, Bo, I think he could F around and lead the NFL in receiving touchdowns over the first couple of weeks. Saints, Panthers, a bad Niner defense early on. He's going to have touchdowns in bunches early in the year.
I completely agree. I think they were able to kind of, after such a struggle for 16 weeks, that they were able to kind of figure out how to get him, scheme him open, put him in the best chance to come down with touchdowns. One was kind of a little bit of like a shovel pass, very well could have had 2 in the game against the Rams. If he whips his head around quick enough, he was the target where the ball bounded off his face mask and went into a Rams, defender's hands to seal that game, unfortunately, but then was able to score the following week in the finale against the Niners. I just think that, him and Kyler Murray, that's the connection, especially in close, that's going to be the one he can really rely upon. I see you guys crushing the chat, by the way, with your own bold predictions. We'll get into some of those. Drop a like for yourself. I see that. Johnny, what's your number 1 bold prediction? Or not number 1, but what's your first one?
My first one, and again, this is something we've talked about ad nauseum. I think the Arizona Cardinals are going to have a top 5 defense in the NFL this year I'll just go based on points per game. I think it's going to be very difficult for opposing offenses to score touchdowns. Not to say they won't have their downturn, but you look at the beginning of their schedule, you look at the quarterbacks they're going to be facing. It's a lot of middling guys. I mean, we talk about that first 7, 8, 9 games before the bye. The Cardinals not only have a quarterback advantage in many of those games, they have a defensive advantage. I think you're looking at games against New Orleans, Indianapolis, that are going to grossly skew their defensive numbers in the right direction. I think obviously they're going to have takeaways aplenty this year. I think you're going to see the Cardinals early in the season put up some crooked numbers like we saw against the Jets and the Bears last year, where collectively the NFL is going to step back and say, whoa, what's going on with Arizona? But the difference is I think they're going to sustain it this year, both offensively and defensively. But back to the defense, too many additions, too many key players to play around with. The Cardinals have been so feisty, so well coached with Nick Rallis and JG over these 2 years, and they've been so talent deprived. I mean, so much so it's been painful for me to talk about it on this show, because I'm like, your best coaching, with all due respect to Drew Petzing, who's I think a good coach. He's a good NFL coach. You have elite defensive minds on your staff. You have an elite head coach defensively, and you have an elite defensive coordinator. It's time to equip them with players to take advantage of that. I'm confident in the offense because of continuity and Kyler rebounding, but I am bullish on this defense. I think it's going to have sacks aplenty. I think it's going to be violent. There are just too many depth pieces. We posted the migration of the Cardinals defense from 23 to 25. And we talked about that on Friday's show, Damon and I did. And like, people were just kind of in awe when you see the stark difference in talent. And then now the depth that's associated with it. How is this defense not going to be dominant this year?
I'd be hard pressed to think that it is not going to be, just because like you think of performances shutting out the number one offense in the league last year in the second half,
right?
The Detroit Lions, and you think about the personnel versus what the personnel is, not only just through free agency but also the draft. You talk about like how far it's come from like 2023 to now, where you've got guys who were on that 23 team that weren't old, that haven't played another down in the NFL, started for this defense. Now they're going to have a tough task of really kind of deciphering who gets to start, like who gets that respect. You'll probably see it go the way of the veterans, but you're going to see a good rotation of a mix of young and old, and it's going to be a stark difference between Kevin Strong and Jonathan Ledbetter, who have been working at, Best Buy since they were, let go by the Cardinals.
There you go.
And now you've got guys like, Calais Campbell, who's second in defensive player of the year voting in, 2017. And you got, first round picks, second round picks all over the secondary. It really is going to be fun to see what Nick Rallis can do. And I think we said it last week. We won't reveal the source of it, but jokingly said, if Nick Rallis coaches his way to a top 10 defense, he's going to be fired because the expectations are far higher than that. So yeah, I'm with you, man. Top 5, is that what you're saying? Top 5 defense for the Cardinals?
Defense in points per game, yardage, you could take it or leave it. But you look at the best 5 scoring defenses in the NFL, I think the Cardinals will be in that group.
Give it to me. Yeah, absolutely here for that. I'm going to stay with my trend. I told you Trey McBride faced the toughest schedule for a tight end last year. His quarterback faced the toughest schedule a quarterback could face. Kyler Murray in fantasy football last year. We'll get into this a little bit later as far as how the schedule is conducive to success for Kyler Murray. I'm saying he's a top 5 fantasy quarterback in 2025. This is something that he's done twice in his career before, Johnny. 2020, he was the third ranked fantasy quarterback in the NFL. In 2021, he was the 4th ranked. He would have to join the heavyweights of like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts as far as entering that company. But what did he tell you and I back in March when we sat down? He's going to run more. That raises your fantasy floor. It's already pretty high. I think he was 4th in rushing yards for fantasy quarterbacks last year. And you should be able to see an uptick as far as just the passing totals. I think we all expect more passing touchdowns than 21. Just imagine, like, he was a top 10 fantasy quarterback last year. I think he's firmly, top 7. Can he make his way up with this nice schedule to be a top 5 guy? I think so.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's no way he's not going to be better than his numbers were last year. And really, like, outside of that Rams game in week 2, and what was it? Either the Jets game or the Bears game. I think it was the Jets game. Those were his best 2 statistical games, right?
Yeah.
But rarely did Kyler Murray have. I mean, Miami was solid too, but he did not have a bunch of bloated numbers. But he was efficient, and I think this year he's going to reap the benefits of being efficient combined with big-time playmakers. I think he's going to be rewarded with some guys with big-time yak ability, specifically Marvin, what he's going to be able to do in year 2. And then we talked about it earlier in the segment, the defense is going to give him many more opportunities. So I just think by default, he's going to have more opportunities. And when he comes on our show and is as bold as he is, saying, I'm running more this year, it's like, well, who's going to stop him? Drew Petzing? It's like, right. If I'm Drew Petzing, and it does feel like Bo sent me a blurb last week, and Kyler Murray was 2nd in the NFL in checkdowns last year, only behind Russell Wilson. And it felt like watching those games, and you'll never get a straight answer from him, and he shouldn't, not to throw anybody under the bus. Kyler Murray was pushed by his coaches last year to check it down. And I think it needs to be the opposite this year. I think the defense is going to allow you to take chances if you're K1, let it rip. I think they're going to be put in position to score faster. I think last year they're like, well, let's just try to keep this defense at bay, and we're going to be able to sustain drives and win that way. And that worked through 10 games. But to win the NFC West, which is the goal for the first time in 10 years, he has to be a special player on some Sundays. And you can't do that when you're checking it down to D Mercado and Trey McBride and Tip Ryman. Like the vertical passing game has to emerge. And Kyler Murray has no physical limitations right now, which means there's no excuse for him not to, utilize his big time skills, specifically his arm this year.
Need to see it. I think that the opportunity, maybe you can be less risk averse in your play calling just because your defense is going to be set up for success.
Yeah.
No matter where you put them. So I like that. What do you got for your second one here on your bold predictions?
You said Trey McBride is going to lead the Cardinals in touchdown receptions. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to lead the NFL in TDs. Wow. There's a graphic. Marvin Harrison Jr. will lead the NFL in touchdowns. So if you think this is a Homer fanboy take, walk with me for a second. Marvin had 8 last year, okay? The leader in the NFL was more than double that. Jamar Chase had 17. But the next closest was 13. A couple different players had 13, right? I would say to lead the NFL in touchdown receptions, you got to be in the neighborhood of about 15, okay? Do you guys feel like, based off of last year, there were 6 to 7 opportunities where Marvin could have scored and for whatever reason didn't? I do. I think the miscommunication with Kyler Murray was a big problem. I think the route tree was a big problem. They didn't complete like one back shoulder fade last year. Does anybody think that that's going to happen again? Plus, you couple in the fact that he's put on like incredible Hulk type of muscle, which is going to lend itself well in the red zone, allow him to break tackles. He's getting to double digits this year. The question is, how many is he getting? If he is spam the football and put in position to high point of football this year, and you know damn well Drew Petzing's heard all the podcasts, all the radio hits, all the news blurbs about utilizing Marvin Harrison Jr., and then Marv looks like that, I see people scoffing at this in the chat. Like, he's going to have a better year than last year. He had 8 last year, and there was so much meat left on the bone. So you guys want bold, I'll give you bold. I think he's going to have a great year because I think he's going to lead the league in TD receptions. I think it's going to be nuts.
It's one of the things where it's just like, I have higher expectations for this offense. Do I have the confidence to say that like Drew Petzing can be the play caller where he's going to allow somebody to put up those crazy numbers? I don't know. I just think just based on how they run offense, it's not set up for somebody to kind of skew the numbers. Somebody go crazy statistically one place. I don't know.
8 touchdowns last year though in what people think is a down year. And he had stretches where they came in bunches and then he didn't have any.
Here's what I'll say. Also, I think that one thing that could also work against them is the defense being a lot better. Like Jamar Chase is he's going to have another chance to where he's going to be in shootout after shootout after shootout, and he has to score by necessity.
That's
where
fair.
Marvin Harrison Jr., like the Cardinals could be, especially in the first 6 games, like they should. Like Marvin Harrison Jr. probably shouldn't have to play a lot of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's fair. And again, like, I'm not saying this is likely to happen.
Yeah.
But if you told me like, hey, Johnny, give me one, because this is my one like crazy statistic that the Cardinals lead the NFL in this year. And I'm like, you could say Trey, but like Trey's not, I don't think Trey's leading the NFL in anything as a tight end. So who's their best skill player, right? Their best skill player in terms of a receiver, running back is Marv, in my opinion. I think we're building toward an avalanche of Marv production. I really do. I think that they didn't add any receivers. They didn't add any personnel offensively. It's the exact same unit, and Marv is hell-bent, and Drew Petzing better wake up with a scheme change, evolution. I think you're going to see, like, we're going to look up like 10 to 12 weeks in, and he's going to lead the NFL in a major statistical category. Remember how hard it looked last year, and his numbers were still like leading the NFL.
But
and it was difficult.
It looked hard everywhere but the red zone. Like that,
right.
Like they did seem to have a pretty good rhythm. Like it felt like every other opening drive, Marvin Harrison Jr. was catching. Wasn't it like 4 straight games? He had a touchdown, and it should like he's got the talent to where he should be a threat to catch a touchdown every game. Now, obviously, NFL defenses and defensive backs have something to say about that. But man, like, yeah, I mean, he needs to show that he's in the same conversation as the guys that have the threat to lead the league. I just think you're going to see a lot of guys that have the ability to get more opportunities just based on those opportunities, based like the Bengals having a bad defense. I don't know. I mean, Scary Terry was up there, Amon-Ra. I mean, I think he could be he could be a second, but maybe a distant second, just because there's going to be
a second tier kind of guy.
No, not a second tier guy. I'm talking about like second as far as touchdowns in the league.
Sure.
I think that's like 12,
low
14.
teens. Yeah.
But then there's like one guy every year that just goes crazy.
I don't know. When you got a kid who's motivated and who's putting in the, I mean, look how big he is. I mean, he is clearly saying, I'm going to outfit. I wasn't big and physical enough to do what I wanted to do last year. I know how big and physical I need to be. And then you have people on the team that with this weight he's put on us somehow made him faster. Mm-hmm. Like the only person that's stopping Marv this year is Marv based on injury and Drew Petzing, I guess. But I think he's go ahead.
He had 14 touchdowns in each of his last 2 seasons at Ohio State each season. So
playing overall games.
Yeah. I mean, he's a guy that he's just got a nose for the end zone. I mean, he showed it early on, to your point. I'm going to keep it going here, but I'm going to go from a second-year player to a third-year player. I've got BJ Ojulari leads the Cardinals in sacks.
Wow.
I'm talking double digits. Wow. Not Josh Sweat, not third-round pick, Jordan Birch, not Baron Browning. I think it's the Ojulari show if he's healthy and ready to go, because I trust what Michael Wilson was telling us post after the season, that BJ Ojulari before his injury was going to be a big-time defensive stud for them, 10-sack guy. I think he's going to be in a great setup to get after the quarterback. Like interior-wise, there's going to be some rushing lanes that he's going to be able to get through, and he's going to be able to capitalize that. But it's all going to be based on BJ Ojulari staying healthy. But I think if he is, and everything's all equal as far as health, he's going to be in that rotation, and he's probably got the most upside as far as getting after the quarterback.
Yeah, and Sweat's never been like a big-time sack artist. I think it's like he tops out his season high. His career high was 11 with Gannon a couple of years ago. Like, I think we'd all be thrilled with 10 for Josh Sweat. I think Jordan Birch is a rookie that's going to be a backup. Baron Browning, as much as people slobber all over his pressures, has never had close to double-digit sacks. And then we love these defensive linemen they brought in, but like I think it's negligent or irresponsible, I should say, to say a D tackle is going to have double-digit sacks. So I think by process of elimination, I have no issue with that. Again, how is his knee? He's basically had about a year and a half off. And, I think it's easy to write him off because of the players that they brought in. But if let's just say, and I'm with you here, I'll go one step further with you. Like, and this isn't a hot take or anything. Like if he's healthy in training camp and in good shape, I think he could start over Baron Browning. We posted our starters on Friday, and Baron Browning is kind of default listed as a starter. I think that position is up for grabs, whether it's Birch or BJ Ojulari, because he's got a familiarity.
David's in that combo too.
I mean, as a placeholder, but not as a legitimate pass down threat. So, no, I have no issue with that. And again, you talk about the Cardinals need things like that to happen this year to get them to the next level. You need a couple things where we weren't expecting, or like you can pay the Sweats of the world and draft Walter Nolan and get Will Johnson, but some of these guys from the last 2 years, some of them have to step up finally. Like Michael Wilson needs 800 yards, and I'm not suggesting Mike needs to step up. He needs more targets, but Isaiah Adams has to.
He would say that he needs to have a jump statistically. I mean, I think everybody understands the writing is on the wall as far as this organization. I think they're very aware that, if they go where they want to go, team success, like the statistics and stuff will follow, but doing their jobs, they know that what they did last year, especially offensively, wasn't where they want it to be.
I like your prediction. Here is my third, and then we'll go to break and come back. I'll keep it on the defensive side of the football. This is my semi-rational take is Adrian Taylor Demerson Rabbit and Cody Simon will both be starters by Halloween. It could be sooner than that. I think Cody Simon has a chance to win a job outright in training camp. I think benching a guy like Jalen Thompson early, I don't know if that sends a great message. I just feel like Taylor Demerson's cover skills are too good to not start at this point. And we briefly chatted with Gannon and Rollis kind of privately at the combine, not privately, but not on air. And they both beamed about Taylor Demerson and basically gave you the look of like, look out this year. Cause they know we all saw it. So
you were kind of the guy beaming about him.
They were excited. They were excited about it. The Cardinals have three really good safeties.
John Greer, let me tell you about a guy named Rabbit Taylor Demerson, man. No, they didn't do that.
They brought him up on prompted. That definitely happened. Those are. I mean, that's probably my most rational take. Is like the 2 fourth rounders from the last 2 years. We're gonna get into November, and they're gonna be starting for this team. And again, like maybe Taylor Demerson is a base package, and it contains all 3 safeties. And Akeem Davis-Dather hasn't been promised anything, so maybe that's not a hot take. But yeah, I love both those 2 prospects, and I think that that's something that's going to happen sooner rather than later.
There was enough playing time for like a Chris Barnes last year to where I think Akeem Davis-Gaither could play that role.
Yeah,
like, he doesn't. I don't know if he knows anything different. I'm sure he's chomping at the bit for his opportunity, but like he's a professional. He's been in the league 4 years. He knows how to play a backup role very well, and that's the reality of the NFL. It's just, you're the starting guy until somebody, takes your spot. And Cody Simon certainly has the chance to do that. And like, there's nothing that I think is keeping or standing in the way. Besides, they'll probably give Akeem Davis-Gaither the first chance at it. But like Gannon maintains it, and I believe him. Like, competition is going to decide, who starts and who gets to the playing time, who gets the most reps.
It's 100% an open competition at that position. Yeah. I mean, no one's gifted anything. We're back around the corner. Our final 2 predictions plus why Kyler Murray's fantasy season could be one for the ages. That's coming up. I'll tell you what's coming up in my near future. A 79-cent Polar Pop, baby, via our friends at Circle K. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. It's so easy to get started, friends. Email, phone number, you're fully enrolled. After that, you just need your phone number to get all the deals. I was at the pump this weekend, and I'm like, I don't have time to go inside. I don't have time to peruse around. I just got to fill up. The gas was already cheap. It got even cheaper for your boy. Save 25 cents per gallon your first 5 fill-ups, 3 cents per gallon every day. That's what I got. I got those 3 cents. Every time I go to Circle K, no matter where I'm at, I'm saving 3 cents. Again, thirst has met its match. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com, Bo, for more details.
My wife got 50 cents off per gallon yesterday.
Wow.
It was unbelievable. I mean, we were just like, let's hit this, inside. Let's go to Circle K in like the America's Thrift Shop and use our savings on some snacks. And that's what we did. Look, I mean, it's free. It's free money. I mean, we're under $3 per gallon because of that. Another big time winner, Branded Bills, out and about over the last 3 days during the Memorial Day weekend. And you'll see that BB like Johnny has on the front of his hat on the side of most hats. You're like, is that a Brandon Bills hat? Yep, there it is. There's the old BB. There it is. Out Mesa, but man, internationally known local company that's going big time. Elevate your brand with Branded Bills, the perfect headwear and apparel to elevate your brand. Snapbacks, truckers, fitteds, beanies, tees. Branded Bills has you covered with performance and style. If you're looking for some gear to make your brand stand apart, maybe it's your co-ed softball team. Maybe it's your company. Maybe it's your kid's little league team. Get Branded Bills on the job. They're going to give you and create the exact custom apparel that you need. Check out their campus collection, ASU, U of A, as they make their run to the Omaha. You want to rep the Wildcats, you could do it with the campus collection. Local company in Mesa. Head to brandedbills.com. Use the code BBPHNX for 10% off at Branded Bills.
Love our friends at Branded Bills. Drop a like for Branded Bills. I not too many people I know don't at least have one piece of merch from Branded Bills, but again, it's the only hat I wear now, and for good reason. Keeping things going here with our predictions. We have gone through 3. Just to recap, Bo has said Trey McBride's going to lead the Cardinals with TD receptions. I mentioned the Cardinals are going to have a top 5 defense. Bo says B.J. Ojulari leads the Cardinals in sacks with double digits. I got Marv leading the NFL with TD receptions. And then lastly, on number 3, Kyler Murray, according to Bo, a top 5 fantasy quarterback this year. And then for your boy DTD, Rabbit, Taylor Demerson, and Cody Simon, going to be starters by Halloween. Keeping things going, Bo Brock. Number 4, what do you got for us?
So a lot of us get, overwhelmed by Pro Bowl selections, and we all know that the Pro Bowl has become a bit of a sham, right? Nobody cares. You got guys like Snoop Huntley, maybe a future Cardinal, who was at one time a Pro Bowl quarterback with like 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. I think that the Cardinals get kind of the more legitimate honor. I think they don't get just one. They can get 2 all-pro spots in the NFL. And I'm not going to be specific on who, but because of just how many guys are emerging on this budding roster, this ascending roster, whether it's, on the offensive side, you've got Paris Johnson Jr., who's playing the left tackle spot. I think he's more and more comfortable there. You got Trey McBride, of course, at the tight end position. You've got Marvin Harrison Jr. at the wideout spot, plus, Kyler Murray, quarterback position stacked in the NFL. It's tough to crack, but some options there. And then on the defensive side, Garrett Williams comes to mind, Budda Baker, some big time players, some youth in there from Will Johnson, probably too early, but I think they now have multiple options with guys that are right on the precipice of something special. And I think that it's going to come with team winning, and on the tail of that success, the league is going to take notice, and some guys are going to get some big time honors as far as 2 all-pro selections for the Arizona Cardinals in 2025.
Well, I think if Marv leads the league in touchdown receptions, I think you can put Marv on that list. So
that's probably worthy, right?
I like this from that boy OD in the chat. Man, JV, if Marv leads the NFL in TDs, I wouldn't know how to act anymore. We would definitely not be humble about it. That's for sure on this podcast. So I'm with you. I think for a defense that's going to be top 5 in our prediction, I think you got to have at least one defensive player that earns those honors, right? I think they'll get one. And then, offensively, I mean, man, if it's Kyler Murray, then all bets are off on how much, this team is looking toward January and how many games they're going to win. And so I that's fair. I mean, I think Garrett Williams is a name just based on where his star is kind of trending. But what if Garrett Williams has 6-7 interceptions this year? I think you could make that case. If Trey has a duplicate season plus touchdowns, if Trey had the exact same year as last year and then he had the touchdowns, he's on the all-pro team. The only reason he wasn't an all-pro this year is because Kittle had more touchdowns. So to me, I think that's a very sensible take. That being said, I love the Pro Bowl, and I hope the Cardinals have 10 Pro Bowlers, even if they're all fraudulent. We need to stuff those ballot boxes. So I like that prediction. Here's another one. Number 4 for your boy. We've been waiting for it. Kyler Murray is going to win a playoff game this year. I don't know if it's going to be home or away. I don't know how emphatic his performance will be, but I know Kyler Murray will advance to the divisional round of the NFL playoffs this year. I am 100% in on this team making the playoffs. I would love the Cardinals to be able to get, a fraudulent team in the first round of the postseason, like an NFC South team. Regardless, I think Kyler Murray, like Baker Mayfield last year or 2 years ago against Philly, goes into January football with this team equipped with the best defense of his career, the best young playmakers he's ever had, and the best head coach he's ever had. And I think he wins a playoff game. And I hope to hell it happens for him because he's put in the time. He's bought in. His family loves it here. Nobody wants it more. And I think it would also shut a lot of people up. So let's go, K1. Win a playoff game.
What would you say then, haters? What would you say? What would you say if Kyler Murray, who's made 82 career starts, hasn't won a playoff game, which the ESPN was pointing out quite a bit. It's tied for 29th out of all quarterbacks since 1950 as far as career starts without a playoff win. So Kyler's at 82. Obviously, he would get himself 17 games, barring if he plays the entire season. Sneak in just under 100 starts.
Yeah,
and then finally get that playoff win. And I think get a lot of people off of his back and maybe on the back of Justin Herbert, who's just behind him with 79 career starts and no playoff win. Just like you want to you want to have like all those haters out there feed the other quarterbacks to them. Like that's what you want. Like have it be somebody else's problem and not Kyler Murray's. And they can't say, well, Daniel Jones has won a playoff game. Like he's got to be a better quarterback. It's like, no, he's not. He's terrible. He's actually trash. And he was released by the Giants, who are a terrible team, and just felt like they couldn't win with him and moved on.
Yeah, I just feel like he's got too much momentum. This team, they understand what's at hand. I mean, not age, durability is a concern with K1. Anytime you talk about making it to January football fully healthy, but he did it last year. I think this offense is conducive to staying healthy, but I would just feel like Kyler Murray, this fan base will have felt cheated when Kyler Murray is the longest tenured Cardinal quarterback ever, and he doesn't win a playoff game. I think he doesn't want to be remembered like that. He knows that the work has left to. We've been with him on and off this entire offseason, and he is so locked in to bringing this team. He has bigger goals than just winning a playoff game, but you have to start there. And so, hopefully, I want 2025 to be the culmination of the rebuild and the beginning of the window opening for this current rendition of Cardinal football.
Yeah, he needs to get out of that conversation. Kyler Murray is this and that, but he hasn't won a playoff game. Like I think he understands, like, statistically, he's already had a season that statistically has been, fantastic and up there. 2020, 2021, big time years. But people are going to say, well, he hasn't won a playoff game. He could do that once again in 2025, and it can look great, over 30 plus total touchdowns, and get it going on with his legs again. And people will say, well, he didn't win a playoff game, and it's been 7 years. So what about that? And you don't want to give them that opportunity. You win a playoff game, you create yourself more, I guess, kind of a longer leash. People are going to be like, okay, well, let's see where this thing can go from here. Then we've checked the next box.
Yeah, I think he's the do factor is a big thing. Let's get into our last final predictions here. Bo, kick us off your final of your big 5 bold predictions.
This is my big one. I'm not going to go with the 16th overall pick, but I'm going to go with the 47th overall pick. Will Johnson winning Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Wow.
Because I think Will Johnson will outright win the CB1 job, or just a starting outside cornerback job. And with that, what he was able to accomplish at Michigan, more pick sixes than touchdowns given up. He does have a nose for the football. He had a quarterback rating of 30 when thrown against. He's an absolute stud. If he stays healthy, I think he's going to be the Defensive Rookie of the Year. I don't see anybody that's going to put up, big time sack numbers. I mean, Abdul Carter could do it, but I think Will Johnson, with a healthy amount of picks, anywhere from 4 to 5, would put him in that conversation.
I love it. He's got the best head coach to do it. He's got a defense primed for a top finish. And again, usually to win these kind of accolades, you got to have team success too, fair or not. And I saw a picture today posted by the team site. He's already getting his hands on a football. That's what he does. He sat there and told us at Kyler Murray's softball game 2 weeks ago, or a week and a half ago, basically, that's just who I am. I play the position to get my hands on the football. So to win this award, you got to have some gaudy numbers, whether it be sacks. So let's say he has 5 or 6 picks. I think it would take a couple defensive touchdowns and just a lockdown, maybe PFF grade. Like, I could absolutely see it. And I think to your point, Bo, he's going to be put in a position to do it because I think he's going to start right away. The cat's finally out of the bag with Sean Murphy-Bunting, unfortunately, being out for the year, gone from the Cardinals. Like, step on up, Will Johnson. You think Will Johnson's getting beat out respectfully by Starling Thomas or a street free agent? Like, this is his job. Yeah. He's a top 50 pick. What's he going to do with it? I can't wait to see it. I agree. I think he's got the best chance of anybody in this class. Let's go to my final prediction, which is a little bit of a cheat because it's not technically during the season, but post the season. Monty Ossenfort, Jonathan Gannon are going to get contract extensions with the Arizona Cardinals, the first of such since Steve Keim and Cliff Kingsbury, which happened in February of 2021. or 2022, I should say.
Yeah.
I was at the combine with Saul Bookman when it happened, and I was a little bit shock and awe. I think Jonathan Gannon and Austin Ford will get their extensions earlier. I think we're talking, unless they're playing deep into January, which we would all want, I think it will happen shortly after the season. That they will both get new deals, 5-year deals that will probably pay both of them at least top 12 money in the NFL. Gannon is going to be, I think, one of the highest paid defensive coaches in the NFL. So to me, fully deserved. There's no scenario in which, in my opinion, this team winning record playoffs and these guys don't get extended. Like, say what you want about Michael Bidwell. Like, he's always been quick. It's like, I'm not my dad. I'm not locking Don Coryell out of the building. Like, if you're winning here, you're sticking around. I mean, Steve Keim had a 3-year stretch with Bruce Arians that he never matched again, and he rode that for 10 years. So anybody who's concerned about losing key people, like they're going to re-sign these guys, pay them handsomely. You're going to see just the culmination of 3 off seasons and development take place this year. You're going to see players that they brought in 23, 24, 25 that are going to help this team win. And you're going to see the coaches that develop them, and it's going to be worth some pay raises, right? Like they got to do it on the field. They got to win 10 plus games. I think we all agree on that. But I mean, if not now, when? Like, we're either talking about this kind of thing happening or doing like year to year hot seat, and ain't nobody want to talk about that. And I don't think the schedule and the roster supports that. This is, the Giants know they're dead. The people in New York, they know they're going to get fired. They're clinging on to hope that they can rally, but they know, like, we're going to be selling our houses and looking for new places, new setups in next spring. This team, they are so locked into winning and then being here long term. You know, the goal should be to have Jonathan Gannon as the head coach of this franchise for 10 plus years, so he can eclipse Bruce Arians, so he can eclipse Ken Wisenhunt. And I think the true winning starts this year.
If it is a culmination of the hard work, the building, the rebuilding that was done over the last 3 off seasons now, it would certainly be well worth it for both of those guys. There's no doubt about it. And Gannon gets a standard 5-year coaching contract, so after 3 years he was second to last year, with himself have earned himself a raise. Like that's the simple part of it. Like, if he takes this team back to the playoffs and then everybody can see the vision has been kind of fulfilled with them getting back to the postseason in year 3, and the direction of the team continues to be bright with this, home built team through the draft. Him and Monty Ossenford, like, there's no reason to bat an eye at it. We're back in 2022 after the 2021 season. You're like, well, what are you hanging your hat on, really, outside of Kyler Murray? Like, who was on that roster to say, hey, I can see consistent, sustained success on this roster, when it was really kind of veteran heavy? And you saw, like, when the big names in that season went down, everything dematerialized, where that's not the case now. They seem to be in a pretty sound spot. And it's certainly a testament to Monty Ossenford and Jonathan Gannon. And I think he understood, like, Michael Bidwell sees that. Like, he saw it, unfortunately, something he did, like, that wasn't there with Keim. I think he's certainly getting a firsthand look what it looks, what it truly should look like. And why would you want to, like, I think he wants to reward his guys, even though other people would tell you differently. He wants to reward his guys and pay them what they probably feel they're worth.
I just feel like, and this isn't a slight on the head coach, I just feel like Jonathan Gannon, and this has been my argument since they hired him, it's a very, like, safe head, like, what you're getting. Here's what you're not getting: disaster 5-12 seasons, barring injury. Right. And it's like the same reason, like, he is in the same vein as, like, a Vrabel and these guys. Tomlin, well, I think he's got a chance to have a higher ceiling here in the short term. But these guys were just like, you're always going to be in the hunt. And then when you've got the right quarterback and the right pieces in place, you have a chance to win playoff games. I believe that that's the case with Gannon. And Michael Bidwell has never had that. He had a splash in the pan situation with Arians where we all knew there was a shelf life, hired at 60 years old. I think he thought he had it with Cliff, because outside of that first year with Cliff, like Cliff was very respectable those next 2 years. Like, didn't finish how you wanted, but man, like the records were what the records were, and you had some momentum going, right? I think Gannon, you're always going to have a floor of 7 or 8 wins, and you're going to have a ceiling of a guy who's going to bust his ass with his team and get you to hopefully new heights that you haven't achieved in some time, like an NFC West title for the first time in 10 years. What do you think of our predictions? Did we miss anything? Drop a comment. Let us know what you think. Around the corner, we're talking Kyler Murray fantasy, big season en route, plus Haason Reddick. I give my apology to Bo. It's coming up. I'll tell you what I'm never going to apologize for is my love affair with our friends at Desert Financial Credit Union, the official credit union of the Arizona Cardinals, PHNX Sports, and the Venerable household. That's because for more than 84 years, Desert Financial has been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union, dedicating to creating exceptional experiences by giving back to the community and providing financial solutions that make life better. And this is not a one-off transaction. This is, yes, a checking account, a savings account, an ATM, mortgages, loans, credit cards, investment options, and more. Plus, if you're an Arizona sports fan, there's no better place to do your banking than Desert Financial Credit Union. Rep the Red Sea right now. You can see it on screen with the exclusive Visa debit card. Show your team spirit by opening up a free checking account online. Get an Arizona Cardinal Visa debit card today. How do you do that? Well, go to desertfinancial.com/Cardinals, Bo, to get started.
Hanging out, my buddy just revamped his entire outdoor setup. It's beautiful. We got a nice grill, nice little sitting situation, and then pointed out brand new retractable awning. And before he even asked, I said, "Is that from All Pro Shade Concepts?" He's like, "How'd you know?" Like, that's one of our proud partners that we have over at PHNX. It wasn't All Pro Shades Concepts retractable awning. It's unbelievable what they're doing. You can extend your outdoor living space with a custom fit awning, hundreds of designs and colors to choose from, match any home. It looks beautiful. It looks awesome. 623-204-1476. That's 623-204-1476, or check them out online, allproshadeconcepts.com. They can replace and fix almost all the outdated patio shades and motorized awnings that are, just sitting there and not working any longer. They can also get your HOA approvals, which is always a pesky, tough thing to do. But most trusted local shade company, voted #1 ranking Arizona on patio shades in 2024. BBB A+ ratings with over 1,000 5-star reviews. Check them out right now. Licensed, bond, and insured. Call 623-204-1476 or visit allproshadeconcepts.com to now schedule your free estimate with All Pro Shade Concepts.
Thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to 300 plus watching live. Drop a comment, drop a like. We're a little light on likes. Come on now, everybody's had their Memorial Day fun. Now it's time to get back to work and giving us a like to help the show. But in all seriousness, we appreciate the support. Nonetheless, Cardinals getting back to work this week. Bo will be out at the facility and keying in on one franchise quarterback who, by the way, Bo, right now, according to several notable outlets, has the second easiest quarterback schedule as it relates to fantasy football. That after last year facing a gauntlet of sorts and still being a top 10 QB.
Yeah, he was. It was the hardest NFL quarterback schedule in fantasy football last season, as we mentioned earlier in the show. And, Kyler Murray, I think, finished his top 10, and he's able to do that, obviously, with his floor and his rushing yards. He was 4th in rushing yards. He's going to be in a good position year in and year out to do so if he stays healthy. And now you see a schedule that's conducive for him to put up big numbers against the Saints, who are terrible. Face the Jaguars, I think one of the worst defenses in the league last year. Carolina should be give them a great opportunity to put up some different, some big time numbers. So Kyler Murray only looks up to CJ Stroud, and the Houston Texans are the only team that have an easier schedule based on last year's opponents. So Kyler Murray, after going through it and surviving and putting up, decent numbers, pedestrian, I think, even for his standards, has a chance to stack some numbers here, especially early on.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a start similar to that of 2021, where bloated stat lines, crooked numbers, big box scores. It's about continuity and keeping it up throughout the rest of the regular season. Here's a blurb as it relates to K1 on his easiest fantasy football schedule, according to Mike Clay. Arizona is topping this category is pretty notable, as the Cardinals had the hardest schedule for both QBs and tight ends last season and the hardest schedule overall for most of 2024 prior to lighting up down the stretch. He continues here. This season, Arizona is set up with 9 matchups against defenses that Clay has ranked among the worst 10 units in the league.
Wow.
Niners twice, Jaguars, Cowboys, Bengals, Panthers, Saints, Falcons, and Titans. The only top 10 projected defense they're going to face is Houston. And that game is obviously indoors. So pretty notable for the haters out there. And
Niners, huh?
Yeah. Scrubs.
You got to play defense to be a good football team. Like, I guess people are just overlooking that because where everybody's seeing is buying the 49ers comeback stock. But they didn't do anything outside of adding Mikael Williams to their defense this offseason. I mean, it was a mass exodus. They lost their best cornerback. They lost their best safety. They lost, Dre Greenlaw to the Broncos. But, yeah, they're going to be fine coming off of a pitiful performance last year.
Fred Warner playing all 11 positions on defense. It's
better totally with that fine paycheck.
Yeah, that's right. No, I can't. I wish we could play the Niners every week, honestly. It's get the tombstone ready, Damon. We're dusting that bad boy off early this season. Arizona Cardinals in good spot to put up points. Paige and Drew Petzing, we expect it, and I think that is going to be the biggest thing. Last year, you can open up against the Buffalo Bills and start a little slow. Oh, it's the Bills. You play unequivocally the worst team in the NFL. I mean, the over-under for the Cardinals points scored against the Saints should be what? 29.5.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's like, I think you have to go into that game on turf in the Superdome, which we will be there, thanks to our friends at Burgain Travel, and score 30-plus points.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, defense should be able to score some points, you think, on their own, no matter who they face on the other side, whether it's Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shuck. They shouldn't be in a spot to where they're putting up very many points in that game against this defense, no matter what you're trying to work in as far as players. And we'll see how much playing time or snaps they get in the preseason. Probably not close to much, but like this should be even in like a exhibition type style game. They should be able to blow out the Saints. It's great. It's just funny to me. The Niners little thing is like Mike Clay just puts it out there. It's just factual how they were top 10 worst defenses in the league. And everybody's like, well, they might get Christian McCaffrey back. They couldn't stop anybody last year. They couldn't. They were the worst, by far the worst defense in the division. Like, how are they going to be able to keep up with these teams?
Robert Saleh, I mean, like, he's a good coach, right?
Yeah.
And that was a nice pickup for them. It is a players' league. You have to have players. They don't have any good players. They have an old Nick Bosa. They have no defensive tackles, none. Their defensive tackle room looks like the Cardinals circa 2023. They've got Fred Warner and a mid-rounder. They got no corners. Ufunga's gone. It's like they are banking on Nick Bosa and Mikael Williams and Fred Warner just to carry 11 guys on defense. It's a team game, guys. Wake up. Cardinals ought to be able to line up in 12 personnel against them and just completely manhandle the Niners front. Like, I want my big explosives, but I understand in that game if you just want to maul their front seven because it is so trash. I mean, you remember how bad the Cardinals ran on the Niners in Santa Clara last year? And I know everybody's like, but they didn't have Jake Moody and they couldn't compete in that game. It's like the Cardinals literally, they gave up a defense. They gave up an offensive.
He was costing them games out otherwise.
I guess.
They wanted that guy. They were going to run that guy out of town, Jake Moody. And they're like, well, we didn't have him that game. And in this case, he was actually a good player for us. But most of the time, we would have been in a such better place without Jake Moody. It's like you can't out of both sides of your mouth.
The Cardinals ran for 170 yards and almost 7 yards to carry that game. But yeah, got to have Jake Moody. Big problem, right? Brock Purdy was atrocious. He had a 62 quarterback rating. The Cardinals should beat the Niners handedly this year. Handedly. Your super chats. Plus, where is Haason Reddick? That's coming up. I'll tell you where I'm at looking for premium flooring. It's our friends at Empire Today. Check them out, empiretoday.com/PHNX. You're going to get $350 off with the bonus code PHNX. Again, empiretoday.com. If you're looking for new flooring, you don't know where to start. I get it. It can be intimidating, right? So many competitors, a lot of people saying, do it yourself. No, don't do that. Do it with Empire Today. Their virtual floor designer is a great way to see how new floors look in any space. It's so easy to get started. Just snap a picture and instantly see how new floors will look in your room. Shopping for floors at a big box store can be frustrating. Talk to someone today, again, who knows what they're doing. The friends at Empire Today. They pride themselves at their convenient at-home service. They've got great customer service. It's an acumen for flooring. And as a new home buyer, I can tell you, you guys use it every day. Even if you don't know it, you're walking on your flooring. Service on your warranties. If an issue does arise, call them. They're going to take care of them themselves. You don't have to track down manufacturer phone numbers or third-party companies. Schedule your free in-home estimate today. All listeners are going to receive $350 off when they use the promo code PHNX. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/PHNXpo for more details.
Love it from Empire Today. Love what's going on over at Sanderson Ford. Big news from Sanderson Ford. Ford has announced it's from America for America employee pricing. It was a big weekend for them over there at Sanderson Ford, celebrating their 70th anniversary. Also, Memorial Day sales going on. You pay the same prices, though, from the owner of Sanderson Ford's paying. Full lineup of new Fords, no hassle, no pressure, no nonsense sales approach. Now you can add no added markups with this deal. On top of employee pricing, get an additional Ford incentives with over 1,000 vehicles during Sanderson Ford's Platinum 70th anniversary sale. Choose Sanderson Ford today because they have the inventory and they're celebrating 70 years of treating you right. Now's the best time for a new Ford. Check it out at Sanderson Ford from America for America employee pricing celebration of their 70th anniversary sale. Stop in and get a pair of tickets as well. The Arizona Diamondbacks to a game in July 6th against the Kansas City Royals while tickets last. Now, it excludes 2025 Expedition, Super Duty, Raptor family, Mustang, and Bronco specialty vehicles, but you get that pair of tickets, one per household. Check it out right now while supplies last at Sanderson Ford.
Big thanks to Sanderson Ford and everybody in the chat. Drop a like on this video. Subscribe to PHNX Sports before your super chats. I do have to apologize to my co-host here. Shame on me. I am a big Haason Reddick enthusiast. I naively thought his situation was specific to the dumpster fire Jets. And I can tell you definitively, maybe this is the first time this has been said, that Haason Reddick was openly lobbying to Jonathan Gannon to play for the Cardinals this year. Wanted to play for JG again. And how could you not, right? Well, Benjamin Albright came on our show earlier this offseason and shut it down that the Cardinals were going to be in on Reddick when he met with Bo and I at the NFL Combine. And now, after signing with the Buccaneers, he has skipped the first day of OTAs. Todd Bowles saying, I'm sure we'll see him one of these days. Haason Reddick famously refused to play for the Jets last year, didn't have a new deal. Not at workouts, Bo. Your thoughts?
I mean, look, does he like football? He got $14 million from the Buccaneers after the crap box of a season that he put up last season. He had a half a sack more than Johnny and myself playing for the Jets last year. And the Bucs were like, hey, would you like to come play for us for $14 million? Sure, but I'm not going to show up until I have to. It's just the sign of a guy who just is only in it for himself. And that the writing seemed to be on the wall last year when he just refused to play for the Jets. He just outright refused until they're like, we're going to take more money out of your pocket.
I hate it. And again, it's like when my kids screw up, right? And I try to defend them to my wife, and then I see them openly misbehaving in front of me. I'm like, guys, I can't help you. I can't help you. It's like, that's just not right. It's like, bro, I stand up for you for 12 months, and now you pull this shiz on me. I can't.
31 years old, and he's like, nah, you know what? New team. You know, it didn't work out for me last year. It wasn't successful, wasn't productive.
He agreed to this contract he signed. This is not in a deal the Bucs inherited. They negotiated. They all collectively. Haason, his agent, the Bucs, they all got together and said, "Let's get a number," and he signed it like a day into free agency.
Yeah.
Todd Bowles is like, "I'm sure we'll see him one of these days. Will you?"
And that's like the most he can say. Like voluntary, it's very you really have to be careful what you say. Like you can't come down on a guy for not being there. But it's like you had half of a sack last season. As we go into overtime here on PHNX Cardinals, Haason Reddick probably won't show up for OT if he doesn't have to. If it's not in his contract, he's not going to show up. No voluntary work for Haason, man. Like it's just good for him. He's made some good money, and he's going to continue to do so. But this has got to be the end of the road unless he comes and produces.
This is one of those rare moments, clip it out, where I have to look at my co-host and say, Bo Brock, you were right and I was wrong. And shame on me. Now I hate myself for it. I saw that today. I'm like, what? Come on, Haason.
Come on, Haason. Hurt better than that. Stag saying JG knew it. I'm look, Jonathan Gannon and the staff, the Cardinals, they have cracked the code, I feel like, for really kind of identifying guys who love ball and who don't. And it's not as easy as it seems. Like Keim used to say it all the time. Like you can't really measure like what the guy's got between his ears and in his heart and all that stuff. It's like, well, neither can you. Like you really can't. But Gannon and Austin Fort have kind of figured it out. And while other organizations play games, they utilize it as far as the draft process. And when they get to meet with these players before free agency or, like throughout the free agent process to vet like whether or not they like football and if they're committed to it. And it just doesn't see like all the actions from Haason Reddick just point to guy couldn't give a crap.
It's a me guy. It's unfortunate. He was lobbying. Gannon, come sign me. Get me. Save me. I'm actually, if you pay me though, I'm going to hold out again. Sorry. I'm actually not going to show up. I'm just going to take my guarantees. Thank you.
I'm not gonna hold out. I mean, it's just an opportunity to get there and like meet your teammates and get kind of acclimated. And he's just like, I'm good.
What's a worse look? Haason Reddick holding out of voluntary work or our boy Shamar Stewart holding out from rookie camp? What's the worst look? I'm going to go.
I still think Haason just because like the whole ordeal last year.
Yeah, I mean, Shamar didn't like choose to get drafted by the worst organization in the sport. Like the Bengals are a clown show and they continue to be. Haason Reddick went to the Bucs, said, yes, I want this contract. And then was like, and I'll see you guys when I feel like it.
It's going to show up whenever.
I'll be around the preseason.
You had one sack last year. Don't you think you want to get to know the system? Then prove you were wrong and you can't just show up and produce? Nah. Yeah. Now, like guy Johnny on PHNX Cardinals says, I'm going to figure it out.
And it's like,
it was a Jets thing.
It's not like his head coach is like sloppy dude Jim Tom Sula. Like it's Todd Bowles. This guy's defensive coordinator of a Super Bowl team, has won playoff games with the Bucs, super well respected defensive head coach. It's like, you want to show up for Todd Bowles? It's a tough look.
It's like he's been very successful. Four consecutive seasons he had double-digit sacks. I think he got a bit maybe arrogant to where he could just say, I can just show up and play. In the NFL, you can't do that. I mean, his first, he completely forgot like the first 4 seasons he was basically almost out of the league. And then luckily it wasn't Bowles. It was who put him in the position, and VJ put him in the position. Yeah. To get after the quarterback, play his natural position, and then remade his career.
Man, good luck to you, Haason. We'll see you maybe around Halloween. We'll see you sometime in early October.
They play the Bucs. What, week 13? Yeah. Is he going to be playing for them by then?
Yeah, he'll show up. Maybe. Jeez, Haason, come on, man. I'll tell you right now, though, Damon. If he had signed with the Cardinals and I would have made Bo eat it for the entire offseason and then he held out, I'd be eating a bunch of humble pie today.
Oh, man.
If he held out for Austin Ford and Gannon after I stood up for him, Bo would never let me live it down ever.
I don't think Johnny shows up to that podcast. I think in solidarity with Haason Reddick, Johnny is holding out until Haason shows up.
Like transparently, or would he be like, I can't, I'm sick? Do you think he like?
It might start off as I'm sick, and then eventually you'd start to realize.
I'm in the comments. That you're Damon, you're so right. I would have chickened out so bad that show. And then I would have just shown up the next day like nothing happened.
I do think like it's case by case. Like I'm not gonna. I don't know of anybody tomorrow for Cardinals with phase 2 starting, like who could potentially like not be there.
Yeah,
but like I don't think there's anybody that the Cardinals signed this offseason where like that guy needs to be there for voluntary OTAs.
No.
But it's different with Haason. It's just like you had a very public holdout and you were very unproductive this season. Don't you think you should get your ass to practice as much as possible? I mean, at least the first one. Just go to the first one and like, I'm going to set up my locker and then like we'll figure out from there.
Like you've been to so many of these workouts. They're so like cliche. You just you're hanging out, you're putting some time in. It's team building first and foremost. I mean, these guys have personal trainers. They work on their bodies when they're not practicing with the team in the facility. Like you're checking in a lot of aspects, you're checking a box.
Yeah.
Does Haason really like care about football, or does he like just want to get paid? I think we know the answer now. We are fired up, 300 plus watching live on a football Tuesday. Getting things started. Super chats. Love this first one, Bo. Aaron Langton, $2.99. Birthday pod. Well, happy birthday, Aaron. LFG. Cards go 12-5 and get a playoff dub. Man, Aaron, from your lips to the football god's ears, I hope you have the best birthday, and I hope the Cardinals treat you well this fall.
Huge. Happy birthday to Aaron. I believe who said he's going to make a trip to the state and taking a Cards game this season. Can't wait for that. We'll get you your birthday beer then. Very thankful for you, man. Hopefully you're having a good one. How about our guy Shaft? $25. So generous from Shaft. He's got his 5 bold predictions, Johnny. Number 1, just like Aaron, Cardinals go 12-5. Defense finishes top 10. We win the West, a home playoff game.
Let's
MHJ finishes with nearly 1,300 yards. And Jonathan Gannon will win Coach of the Year. How's that, Bird Gang?
That slaps. We've never needed anything more. Shaft, we appreciate you, my guy. Diehard staple of our community. And of all those things to sign up for, man, it's the home playoff game win is the number one aspect, but close behind. Like I want Coach of the Year and honors for JG. I came across some scummy Eagles fans over the weekend on Instagrams, basically dogging JG for not voting for the tush push. And I'm like, you guys are so far up your own asses. You're still mumbling on it. First of all, you won the vote. It doesn't matter.
Right.
And then you got slappies making shorts on YouTube, basically reiterating what their doofus coach said, that Gannon, shame on Gannon because it got him a head coaching job.
Yeah.
You don't know football if you think that. If you think an offensive play, you can make an argument like Steichen because he coaches that side of the ball. Jonathan Gannon had nothing to do with the tush push.
Right.
The defensive head coach, morons.
That was on Instagram, Johnny?
Yeah, it's some slappy guy. Just
your boy was going to war with on Twitter for JG and over in a Sirianni conversation this weekend.
Oh my God, damn it! I'm sorry I didn't fight the good fight with you.
Couple of fine folks in this chat. CBK, who's next up on the super chats, was one of them. We were just fighting the good fight, telling Eagles fans like, "Come on, guys." Yeah. It's the same thing as it's similar to the Hurts conversation, although I respect Hurts a lot more than Sirianni. Is like, he is the best running back in the league, the best offensive line, the best wide receiver duo, maybe bar a couple other options.
It's close.
The best defense. What do you want the coach to do? Not win the Super Bowl? Like he's set up in every single facet to be successful.
If Stafford had completed that comeback in the divisional round, and he almost did. Remember, they were like inches away
in the snow.
Sirianni likely gets fired after that game if they lose that game.
Now he's extended in the tush push,
and he's the best, and he's the absolute best. How could you not say Nick Sirianni is the best coach in football?
And the Philly insufferable fans they're on a manhunt for every organization that voted against it, which is so ridiculous.
I'm tired of seeing like Travis Kelce doesn't bother me. He plays in the NFL. I'm done. I'm over Jason Kelce. No more. You're not in the league anymore. I don't want to see your face. Okay. I don't think you should have input on the rules right now. You had your time in the league. If you want to be like the head of the Players Association, like Kevin Mawai a while ago, like go do that. But like I feel like I have to be spoon-fed Jason Kelsey like every 2 seconds. I've had enough. No more.
Turn
I've
on your
had enough.
TV. You can't hide from him.
Can we
He's
stop?
everywhere.
Can we stop?
It's all Eagle stuff, though. It's like
Mhm.
when you notice it, it's like, oh, Big Dom, isn't he the best? And it's
Yeah.
like, no, he's not actually. It's all Eagle stuff constantly that they shove down your throat. And I just wanted to say, Howie Roseman, that was my main crux of my argument. Is
Sure.
Howie Roseman is the best GM in football right now going.
He's a Hall of Fame GM for sure.
Yeah.
He's going to the Hall
And
of
it's like, you know, Nick Sirianni takes over for Doug Peterson, who wins a Super Bowl, like on that same contract that he left the organization with. It just doesn't seem like they're really going from like, you know, horrible coach to, because I had some people saying like, what about Dan Campbell? And I'm like, well, Dan Campbell changed the culture of the Lions
Right.
organization.
Oh my God, not
The
even
Eagles
close. He's
were a perennial playoff team.
Dan Campbell's the greatest coach in the history of the Lions franchise. It's like already. Dan Campbell's the winningest. It's the greatest coach they've ever had. Like Sirianni was born on third base, and Steichen's going to get fired, but he 2 coordinators that went on to get head coaching jobs.
I think that the Philadelphia Eagles have benefited twice now off of the fatigue from the teams that they beat. Like the Patriots in 2017, and obviously Nick Foles, there was a little bit more to that legend because he was a backup quarterback that led him to beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. But like people had Patriots fatigue. I mean, that was, you know, towards the end of their near 2-decade run. And then people had major Chiefs fatigue. And it was people had no other place to root for. So they're rooting for the Eagles in these games. And then they're quickly finding out, oh, this is the most insufferable fan base in the NFL. I am no longer locking arms in solidarity with you and rooting against whatever AFC team is there.
CBK, $2. The only stat I care about this season are wins. Yep.
I like that. That's what, who said that? Marv said that. I think our guy Walter Nolan told us that. He said he doesn't care about TFL sacks. He just wants a dub, maybe a goose egg.
I do think like Kyler Murray, Bone, you and I have talked about this. Like typically, if you're going to the playoffs, you got to have close to 30 total touchdowns. I think there are some outliers like Stafford last year didn't have a ton. Daniel Jones a couple of years ago, but normally if you're a playoff quarterback, you got to be between like 25 to 30 total touchdowns. And he was 21 last year. And we've talked about just like 5 to 6 more touchdowns for K1 spread across 17 games.
Yeah,
will do so much for this team's chances of winning. They were the Vikings game, the first Seahawks game. I mean, there were a ton of opportunities. The Panther game, they just needed a little bit more offense. And then this year, their defense is we're a broken record. It's just gonna put them in such a better spot to score.
The Cardinals would have to really suffocate teams like consistently throughout the season and like be better than we're even predicting. Like I'm talking like 13-4 type season. 14-3 type season, and Kyler, people be like, oh, like they're fine with pedestrian numbers. Like, that their defense is so good and they're winning handily.
Like the Jets and the Bears game, he didn't even play the fourth quarter in those games.
Yeah. But the team would have to be undeniably good, and people are like, okay, well, he's a good quarterback on a good team. Numbers just tell a different story. Like Jalen Hurts last year. You look at Jalen Hurts' numbers outside of the rushing touchdowns. Very, very pedestrian.
Well, can I just say, like, people were like, well, they're predicting them to win like 8 games again. Like they scored the most points in the NFC West last year. They had the best point differential, and their defense was the second best statistically behind Seattle. They scored 400 points and they allowed 379. And like there was plenty of room for improvement. You can look at some teams and you're like, man, they really maxed out their ability and they got all the breaks. Like how we feel about the Denver Broncos, that they didn't play real teams and they played backup quarterbacks right. And they played, the Broncos caught a ton of breaks last year. Whereas the Cardinals played a gauntlet schedule and had some ups and downs, but you could tell like this isn't a house of cards, no pun intended. Like this isn't fool's gold that they're built off of. Whereas, I mean, you do a deep dive in a lot of those cliff teams, And you could see like foundations starting to crumble, guys. We know this is not sustainable. Cardinals, I mean, I expect them to be over 400 points again this year, forced. And I mean, like they allowed 379 last year. I think you could slice off maybe like, I don't know, like the 20 points there, like to knock it down to 360, 355 or something like that. That would put them in a big time category defensively.
Yeah. Our guy ZT 499. You guys think Jalen Thompson gets traded if Rabbit starts? If so, what's the package look like? I don't think he gets traded. I think they let Jalen Thompson play out the end of his contract, which is this upcoming season. And I just don't think there's a deal at his position to bring back anything that would kind of best what he could provide you on your roster.
I think Jalen Thompson's going to be on the team as well. I think there will be a passing of baton at some point this year. Not because Jalen's expensive and a free agent to be. Their best cover safety on the team is a backup right now. Just don't think that is sustainable for this team. Now, people we talked to said Jalen Thompson was not healthy at all last year. So if Jalen Thompson is healthy this year, are we getting Jalen Thompson from 2 years ago, who is outstanding? Not good. He was terrific. He was the defensive player of the team 2 years ago. But as he gets older, right, like you want a compliment for Budda Baker. And a compliment for Budda Baker is a center fielder that's rangy, that can take the football away. Because Budda, as much as Budda, I love Budda. Budda talking about approaching 30, saying, I'm going to have a bunch of interceptions, and I'm paraphrasing. That's probably not going to happen, right? It could be. It could be an outlier. Budda sets the tempo and the tone with tackles at the line of scrimmage, big plays. He's a tackling machine. Baldy breaks down Budda Baker. He is just a viper cobra at the line of scrimmage. Taylor Demerson on the back end, helping guys like Garrett Williams, Max Melton, and Will Johnson take the football away. Like that, his attribute. Go back and watch that preseason game if you're a sicko junkie like us against the Colts last year. And he took the football away in his like first preseason action. Like that's the kind of player he is.
Well, let's not forget JT had 5 picks. He's just a season removed from that. Like, he can take the ball away. I think he gives you your best option of doing that right now. And then like a good season for Budda interception wise. Like if he has 3 and JT has 4 to 5, your safeties are having, 7 or 8 total picks, along with what you can get outside and from Garrett Williams. I mean, it's going to look good.
Junior, I agree with you. Like he's a linebacker and a safety body in the best possible way. And they want 3 safeties. So they want good at this point. Like they should be in addition mode or sustainability mode, because they need players to get through. You need a ton of players to get through 17 games.
Yeah.
The only guys that I could see getting dealt are I don't know if they have a surplus at safety. They suddenly have a surplus at front 7 players. So like, what do they do with these guys who are not going to make the team, but have value? Could they flip? I wouldn't flip Dante Stills, but you could get a pick for Dante Stills. I don't think Justin Jones or Bilal Nichols have value with their like, could you flip Xavier Thomas? Could you do something like that? So there are going to be conversations like that are had as we approach cut down in August and September.
They might be able to get like a Cameron Thomas deal where they're getting the 6th, 7th round pick for
right.
But they're going to have tough decisions to make, no doubt about it. That's the good and the bad about having a more talented roster. Most of the time, you're looking at other teams in your division that you're looking for their cast-offs. Can you scoop them up to help fill needs? Where the Cardinals are going to have some guys. No longer are you going to see like Ledbetter go off and into a new profession. Like you're going to see guys go on to another team and continue their football career.
That's so wild. It's like Cardinal players that were here in 2023 left the Cardinals and then just took a different path professionally in life.
Yeah.
Now it's like so-and-so was claimed after he was cut from the Cardinals.
Keytruck Clark's going to get claimed.
Yeah.
Right. He's going to go play somewhere. If not, he'll be on the practice squad here. Whoever is the odd man out in the defensive line room, and there's going to be multiple guys that are odd man out. Like, look at how many bad defensive fronts there are, and there are going to be some guys that are going to be able to go help them out.
Just pulling up Jonathan Ledbetter's LinkedIn to see how he's doing. Just checking in on him. Excuse me, Jonathan, are you okay? What's new with you?
You want to talk 2023 ball? Let's do it. Come on, our
those
pod.
guys, man, they will always have a special place in my heart that they were asked to start by this franchise in the darkest of rebuilding days. Like this video, do us a favor, get us to 300 plus likes here on a Football Tuesday. Back after a holiday weekend, back at the facility for Bo Brock tomorrow, my guy.
Can't wait. Gonna see some guys hit the grass. OTAs phase 2 continues. I'll tell you who's out there. Of course, you get the full access to it by becoming a member of our exclusive member Discord by becoming a diehard. Go PHNX.com. JG, I think, talks at 10, practice about 10:30. And then we'll get press conferences after that. It's going to be like a kind of a little mock regular season day here tomorrow. Can't wait for that. The coverage begins in the morning. Make sure you're following at PHNX_Cardinals, at Johnny Venerable, at Damon Dog, and at Bo Brock. Also, we've got news later this week about the show.
Yeah, we do. Big news.
Yeah.
Some would say the biggest news. Like this video. Now, we're having fun here in an off season. Plenty of content, plenty of guests, plenty of cards talk on your number one, Bo, Arizona Cardinal podcast. Good to have my friend back. It's Bo Brock. It's Damon Dog. I'm Johnny Venerable. Drop us a like. We'll see you mañana. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.